Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. We're just letting everybody into the Zoom. Soon as Darren jumps in, we'll go ahead and get started. While everybody in, does anybody have any wins since we met last month? Any listings, any closings? I know we're a pretty active, busy group.
I got one
Cool.
closing today. It's it was a tough one, but it was an REO. It's an REO from Shell Point, and it's really crazy. I'm not sure why this happened, but I'm not gonna, you know, complain. They increased my commission a half a point at the 11th hour. So that's
Do
my win.
tell.
What's that?
I said, do tell. We're all want to know how that happened.
Yeah, no, I have no clue, but I mean, I'm not
Oh,
gonna. Yeah, yeah.
and I know your price points out there in Los Angeles.
It closes for 3 million.
Yeah, half
So
a point,
half a
half a
point, 3
percent.
million. Yeah. So that's my win.
That's a cool win. I'm sure
Yeah.
we'd all like wins like that.
It's actually a new client for Shell Point, Chris McCormick, who's a VP over there. He actually called me personally and said, I'm assigning this property to you because I know that you'll do a good job and make us look good. So maybe it was him that did it. Who knows?
Well, cool. Well, that's nice. Any other wins since we met last time? Then we're gonna introduce Darren here in just a second. Everybody knows Darren. I don't have to introduce him. All right. Well, I can't believe we have shy real estate agents, but we do. So, but anyhow, I'll just turn it over to Darren. And I also want to make sure that everybody knows about Thursday's call. It's going to be at 1 p.m., not 1:30 Eastern time. A little different time than this call, but we're going to have one of our team members talking about, best practices working with American Destiny. So I think it's going to be a very good call that everybody should really try to be on. So if you can make it, please do. But Darren, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. And this is our monthly call. We have a pretty good crowd here today.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Thanks everybody for joining. Yeah, Tanya Willis is going to be our guest speaker, right, for Thursday. Tanya is our director of operations. Honestly, she makes it happen. She's extremely talented, and great opportunity to get to meet her. A couple things we're working on behind the scenes that I don't know if how deep she'll go into that, but we're working on some kind of mentoring and some kind of training to make sure that we can tee up everybody that we're working with for success. I'm a big believer that we give you we're going to give you the opportunities, and if someone starts going sideways, we're going to try to bring you back. But we're also going to try to give you the tools you need to be successful. So she's going to go through and outline a little bit about what some of the things we run into with, say, one of our clients, HPA, for instance. Some of the challenges we're running into right now with some of the agents. We want to make sure we kind of just try to streamline that process for everybody and just put it out there based on some repairs and some other things that are going to be a requirement of the tasking that you'll be doing, and just be transparent about it. Honestly, that's what we're trying to do and make it easier for everybody. So I'm looking forward to her joining us. We also have 5-star next week. Honestly, if you could see my desk right now, I'm sure you guys are like this. I got notes everywhere. I mean, we're trying to meet with lots of people. It's going to be a crazy couple days. Glad to have Eric going with us this year. So I guess let me just ask, how many people are going to be there that are on the call? Do we know? I see 2
That's
right
almost
now. I
half
see
the
Jeff
call.
and
That's
Jason.
almost half the call, Darren.
Okay, good. Awesome. Great. I'm looking forward to meeting you. So thanks for coming out. I mean, I know it's a challenge and there's a cost, et cetera, but we're going to have Neil Dunn, who's our ops manager as well, who's going to be with us. We have a lot of employees down in Dallas right now. They're going to join us as well. So I think total we're going to have 3, 4, 5, 6. We might have 7 or 8 people there that you can meet with, get face to face with. So I know we have an event right now. Everybody's aware, right, Eric, of Tuesday.
Yeah.
The Haywire.
I hope so. I hope they're aware. Yeah.
Yeah, the Haywire event, 6 to 8. We did something like that in Nashville. Was extremely successful. We all lost our voice, at least I did. we did a lot of talking, which was again fantastic, getting face to face with you guys and getting a chance to talk shop. I always enjoy that. So we're looking forward to it this year. We have there's a lot of other things going on. So a lot of exciting things going on. So I want to take too much more. Maybe just let's just open it up and see if there's any questions or anything you guys would like to discuss, market wise, business wise, etc. Because I'm happy to discuss it.
Any questions from anybody?
Where are you seeing the most opportunities right now across the country from your guys' side of things with asset management?
We have a couple right now in our vertical that's doing the best right now is the SFR space. So I mean, we definitely have with the HPA, for instance, and we have some other conversations. We had a conference call right now with a group that we're highly invested in on the SFR side to be a sponsor of their conferences, and we just had a great call with a bunch of big players in the SFR space on the end-to-end side. And again, everybody should know end-to-end is an affiliated company of ADR. They pretty much handle soup to nuts when it comes to evictions, foreclosures, like the legal side, a lot of inspections and term work with the SFR space. And we just had a call with that group, and it went extremely well. So we're getting lots of traction on the SFR space, Larry. I mean, right now, that seems to be a pretty attractive model that we put together that we're running with the HPA team and Blackstone and those guys. That is definitely gaining traction with other people in this space that are doing dispositions. And not a lot of people are doing dispositions. I mean, some are. It's more strategic based on what markets they're in and what the returns are, right? So some of the SFR groups had a buying model on the acquisition side that they were doing. You find the property you want to live in, we'll buy it, you rent it back from us, right? So they were buying properties anywhere and everywhere. That has turned into being a little bit of a challenge for them because they're in some markets that they don't want to be in right now. So as the market begins to pivot, they're looking to get out of those markets, and they call that pruning. They're out in the yard pruning some trees right now, and that means getting rid of some of these return on investment vehicles that aren't living up to where they need to be. So we're doing a lot of that, the pruning side of it, but there's also strategic downsizing that some of them are doing just to get out of certain states that aren't working well. We all know about the litigation, right? The one thing we can't control is the government. And if they come down heavy-handedly on, hey, by the way, there's some states out there, for instance, that are talking about if a corporation owns more than a certain amount of properties, they have to pay some outrageous amount of monies to the state. In other words, they're saying, we don't want you owning more than 100 properties. I think Kentucky was one of them, or Tennessee, I forget which state. They're looking at passing legislation that was going to make it extremely difficult for larger companies to own property, and trying to eliminate the ability to them to purchase property. So all that is continuing to kind of simmer out there, and the folks that we deal with on that SFR front are looking at that saying, well, if they're not going to be open for us to own those kind of properties, we probably should be realistic and start getting out of those markets before it gets to be really difficult to work in that space. So again, the SFR space, to answer your question, that was ultimately the one we're having the most traction with. We're seeing a little bit on the REO side with the capital market guys, but very little still. I mean, it's still suppressed. You guys saw Ed Fay. I don't know if you guys read that or saw what happened with Fay, at the CFPB, pretty much telling everybody in this space is how I look at it, to not proceed with looking to foreclose on properties, is what they're pretty much saying. We want you to hesitate. We want you to delay. We want you to obfuscate. We want you to kick the can down the road. We want you to continue to push this into 2025. So I think we have the same outlook when it comes to that. So it's looking, we keep talking about 2025, now it's looking like, summer 2025. So with the REO side of the business. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and I
I
think
appreciate.
it's really kind of irrelevant in a lot of ways, Darren, because we've been busy with assignments to agents. I mean, I think we're doing very well picking up the slack from what isn't what we'd quote call traditional REO. It's maybe not where 2019 levels, but still pretty darn good, I would think, for the year.
Yeah, you have to pivot, right? You have to be flexible. I mean, one of the things that's helped us keep the doors open and grow is being able to pivot and being able to be flexible. You know, our conversations with our clients are just like yours. I would think as agents, we go in and it's pretty much what do you need, and at that point we build out whatever workflows we can for that client based on what their needs are. So that flexibility and that ability to do that is what's really helped us at this point the last couple of years. To your point, the REO, the good thing though, Eric, I mean, the great thing is our foundation is REO. I mean, our core has always been in that space, and we're not even doing any of it right now and doing pretty good. So when it comes back, it's just going to help. It's just going to be a big plus for all of us.
And I apologize, I jumped on somebody else's question there a second ago.
Stealing the questions, are you, Eric?
It must be. This is open mic time. You guys can ask away.
I have a question. Hi.
Hey, Helen.
Hey, so my question is, and I don't know if this is geared more for Thursday's call, but are you guys wanting any feedback as far as the vendors that are being utilized on like the HBA houses, for example? I mean, I'm noticing some things here in Florida, and I didn't know if that's any kind of feedback that you guys want, or like, because I don't know what, I would hate that you guys are paying certain fees for lawn care and landscaping and pools being taken care of, and it's not happening, or it's not happening the way it should be. And I didn't know if that was something you guys would like me to keep track of and then report back to you, because I guess otherwise you don't know. I mean, I do things in my weekly reports, but as far as quality and what we're seeing by vendors that are working, like, do you guys want feedback on that?
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, you're my boots, you're my expert in that area. So I need to hear everything that's going on. If it doesn't smell right, look right, sound right, absolutely, we want to know about it. So I would take pictures, send it back in. I mean, some of our vendors are national vendors, which means they do the same thing we do, right? They're aggregators, and they get a local presence to go out and cut the grass and take care of the pools. That needs oversight. That needs us to keep an eye on it. I mean, that's why our clients hire us ultimately, is to hire these other groups. And honestly, you're my expert. So to answer your question, absolutely. So
Okay.
I would, if there's something not getting done, and for instance, we get this all the time, just so you know, Helen, they go out, they'll pull up, take a picture of the yard, and then just drive away. Right? Like, or they'll just cut a couple strips in the front of the yard and do like a verification of the address picture, where they just cut like this, just enough to get for the picture, right? I mean, stupid things like that doesn't make any sense to you and me. But that stuff, call it out. And at that point,
Okay.
we'll reach out to our vendor, they'll reach out to this person, we'll get a new vendor out there, we'll get somebody else out there if they're failing. We had one guy that got in an argument in a fight with the neighbor cutting the grass. That was luckily not our vendor. It was actually Peak Harbor's vendor. I think it was. But anyway, so we dodged a bullet on that one. But we always want to know, hey, how are they doing? They're doing a really good job. They're doing a great job. It's okay to tell us that too, honestly. It's not an easy job, but those guys do. It is the toughest. It is the toughest space in our business, is the property preservation, the grass cut business. They're so beat up. I mean, I know we feel beat up, agents feel beat up, right? Fees and everything, but they're being told to cut grass on a regional basis for like $50. It's hard to get your mowers, your gas, your people, your trucks, your liability, drive to the yards, cut the grass. and make any money. So it's just a tough space, in other words.
Yeah.
So there's going to be opportunities for fraud. There's going to be opportunities for mistakes, but it doesn't change the fact that's what we're here for. I mean, we got to just get it right. So if that's happening, I want to know about it. Just let us know. Send it to your asset manager. You can always send it to Eric. If you're not getting responses on stuff like this, send it to Eric. Eric gets right to me. And then the next thing you know, things happen pretty quick. So if something's really egregious, then send it to Eric. And then at that point, he'll get it addressed right away.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, I was at a house the other day and I don't think they knew I was there. So I was just stood inside and watched the pool people literally came in, looked at the water, turned around and left, because they have things rigged up, but there's no, I guess, because they figure it's empty. They don't need to test it. They're not putting chlorine in. They're not checking, so I'd hate to see you guys paying money for things that aren't being done. And they can, I keep an eye on all the pools here because they turn green and no amount of time. It's so quick how it happens here.
Well,
But
and honestly, to that point, we've got our client to agree to let us do those pull checks, for instance, to do it on a more regular basis, right? They wanted to do it once every month or whatever it was, and we've talked them out of that because it's, once it turns green, it's a huge nightmare to get it turned back over.
Yeah.
So we've got them to agree to do it on a more regular basis and a recurring basis. But if they're going out there and not doing anything, then that defeats the whole purpose. But to your point, that's fraud at this point, right? We have people going out there, we're paying them to go out there and they're not doing anything. So we want to know about it.
okay.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, I just put in the chat with a lot of spelling errors. We have time for a couple more questions. If just go ahead and ask away if you guys have any more questions.
I've got a quick question about the Bid on Homes software. I accidentally, my typing is terrible. I admit it. It's not my superpower at all. I accidentally clicked on something. I was trying to hit no hazards exist, and I accidentally hit another button, and now it won't let me default it back. It says I reported a hazard existing. I'd like to be able to just click that back to no hazards exist, and it won't let me do it. So
Yeah,
maybe
send-
talk to
just to
whoever.
send a note to your asset manager and just tell her, I think they're all hers now. Yeah, tell her what happened, and then at that point, they can make a note of it, or they can reach out to Bid on Homes directly and have them, open that back up, that task back up for you.
That's what I
You
did.
can correct it.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
That should happen. Yep. And by the way, we run into that all the time. I mean, I see the emails all the time, so don't beat yourself up. There's things that we click on, there's things that get kicked off, there's things that get invoiced that have to be yanked out of there all the time. So it's pretty common.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Dan, I can't remember how many clients we're at right now, but I think it's close to 60 or just over 60 that we're working with.
We added it. We sent out a couple SOWs are our agreements. It's called a statement of work, right? That was our agreements that we send out. And we actually sent 2 out last week. And we have one one right now that's in review. So, I mean, we're adding them every day, which is great. We've been blessed not to lose anybody. We just talked to a guy yesterday that's a smaller capital market group that just is going through a merger right now with a larger group. And he called me yesterday and was like, "Hey, we don't want to change a thing. We just want to make sure you guys can jump over and start handling." I think he only had about 10 assets, and this next group has 80. So we went from 10 to 80 assets, so which is fantastic, and just based on the fact that the team's doing a pretty good job, which is good. So honestly, Eric, I'm not sure. I know we keep adding them every day. We keep
Yeah, I have
working
to do a
hard, so-
count. I usually count on Bid on Homes and see what we have there. I think the last count was 59. Couple months ago, we talked about this, and if this isn't something you want to talk about, don't. But I know you mentioned to me about if agents have somebody like somebody they work with that we could be working with it through American Destiny. How would that work? I mean, because we have a lot of people on this call today. We have probably the most we've ever had. We have 30 people on this call. But like if there's an opportunity to like make a referral to an asset management company or,
I think a mailbox money.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all in sales, right? I mean, I tell my kids this all the time. We're always in sales. All of us are, right? Everything we do, and sales isn't a bad word either. It's something, to me, it's about value at the end of the day. So what are we doing offering value? So, I mean, right now we build out a model that we utilize. Again, it is what it is. I mean, we work off a referral basis, and everybody on this call knows that because you're agents, and you know how we get paid because you're paying us. But the model is extremely attractive for our clients. So what Eric's teeing me up for is we've had a lot of agents at this point that work in a certain state, or maybe they're even a region, and they have great relationships with some of their some clients and asset managers, directors, VPs, senior VPs, the people that run a whole default department for a bank or a servicer or a small a credit union, whatever it would be. When they place property outside of their footprint, you can't help them. They go somewhere else. The conversations that these agents I'm referencing have kicked off is the fact that they just introduce us. They just say, hey, by the way, I work with this group, American Destiny Real Estate Services. They have a unique model. They're in all 50 states and all US territories. They can assist you everywhere. And the beauty is, honestly, we do their asset management for zero cost because it's still within their 5% commission structure. So we wouldn't touch anything that you've been getting. Like if you're getting business directly from this client, you're not going to pay us a referral fee, for instance, for stuff from the same client. So it doesn't hamstring you at all. All it does is open you up to receive revenue from anything we place anywhere else. So if, for instance, the one person I'm talking about, it's a big bank out of Florida. They're a regional bank. They're in like 20 states. He's just licensed in 2 states. This person I'm talking about, he's going to be generating revenue from all the other states that he's not licensed in, based on us working on them on default, us helping them on the E2E side, on evictions and cash for keys. So everything that comes in the door as revenue, at this point, you become a salesperson for ADR and for end to end, is what it turns out to be. So we pay you like an outside salesperson, totally legal. It's all on, of course, on board. I don't do anything illegal, per RESPA and everything else. It's and every month we send you a check with a statement based on what we made and what you're getting paid. So it's just a wonderful way for you to maybe help yourself out with additional revenues if you have a relationship like that. So if you do have contacts like that, all you have to do again is introduce us. You get me introduced, to get us into a conversation, and that turns into a client. At that point, you are the quote unquote outside salesperson. We thought it to be very, some people are much better at it. So I don't know if it's a strength of you, the people on the call, but some are better at it than others. As towards just getting past the asset manager to a director or to an SVP, things like that. But honestly, even the asset manager can get us in contact with, they can maybe get us in, with their person, with their boss. And at that point, we go up and we talk to other people. So that in a nutshell, which I know wasn't a nutshell, is that I call it mailbox money because I love getting mailbox money versus getting bills. And I don't even go to my mailbox. That's my wife. I don't want to go to the mailbox. It's only bills. So when you can start going to the mailbox and start getting checks, it changes your whole perspective about what's coming in the mail. And we work way too hard as agents and brokers. You know how hard it is. It's kind of nice if you can take your relationships that you've worked so really hard to generate another opportunity. And I guarantee you, we're going to work our tail off for you. We're not going to drop the ball. We're going to have good people. We're going to be a value add to that person you're currently working with. So, and all that takes is a referral. So
yeah, thanks for
appreciate the opportunity.
I want to make sure we got that out there. And then Joe had a question. If you want to go ahead and ask that, Joe.
Yes, it's kind of on the same line. If we are tracking foreclosures in our county and we see a hedge fund or some type of other non-traditional investor that's foreclosed on a property, can we, since you've got 60 clients that you work with, can we reach out to either Eric or Darren? And I guess the question is, who do we reach out to find out if you guys already have a relationship with that particular investor?
Reach out to Eric, shoot him a message. the ABC Capital Market Group just, foreclosed on this property. Is this one of your current groups, right? And at that point, he'll be like, no. Then, you can absolutely, of course, be aggressively to move forward and try to contact them and try to figure out a way to introduce us. Yeah, that answers your question.
Okay, yeah, I think so. Yeah, because there's one that just happened in San Diego County, so I'm chasing it. But if you're already there, Eric, I'll reach out to you as soon as we're done with the call.
Okay, yeah, just send me an email and I'll just send it over to the team. Go from there.
Yeah.
Last questions. It's 5 till. I don't want to take up anybody's time. I know we have a busy rest of the afternoon. I have some calls coming up here, but any other last questions anybody has? And really, Darren, I appreciate the time. This was great this month. Had a really good turnout too.
It's been fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate everybody taking the time to jump on.
I was just gonna say hi, Darren, everybody. I was just gonna say I do a lot of fishing upstream, is what I call that too, with Property Radar, and I've gotten several REO assignments from as little as this 75-year-old man that just does hard money loans, right? He's got a bunch of REO properties now, to companies like ADR, and everything in between. So I strongly suggest that if you don't use Property Radar now, get it. I've got a link to get you a discount if you want it. Reach out to me. But I use that, and I've gotten so much business from that, and traditional business too. People that are in default but have equity, right? Not a lot of short sales going on right now because everybody's got equity. But I can tell you, at least where I'm at in Orange County, every day I see at least 2 or 3 foreclosure sales go not REO but third party. Right. So I think of all those were missed opportunities, and it just goes to show you that even though people have equity, they're still being foreclosed on.
Yeah, I can vouch, Jeff, for that. And I appreciate, Jeff, for you turning me on to this, though, because I'm starting now to build a bunch of different searchable lists. And let me tell you, it's great. They message you and let you know that there's a new foreclosure that happened in your county the day it happened. So it went yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and by like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I had notification that property, 2 properties, had been foreclosed on. So, and I'm building 5 or 6 other different lists for different counties. Again, different searches, like you said, Jeff, with somebody that's I think they've got like bankruptcies, they've got evictions, people that have done evictions filed with the county. There's all kinds of different ways to search, and they're all good opportunities.
One of my most recent ones is a hedge fund. I believe I'm just getting acclimated with them, but it's a $5 million property that went REO. And, I did a BPO without them asking, did a drive-by BPO and sent photos to them. And they were just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. You're great. We've got 14 other REOs coming up that we want to consider you for. So, I mean, do the work, guys and gals, because there's a lot out there, a lot more than you think.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Honestly, Jeff, that's great. I mean, again, back to value add, right? I mean, being on this call, getting that lead, getting that opportunity, discount code, I think you said, right? If they contact you, so contact Jeff.
Kelly, can you put that code in the chat for everybody, the Property Radar code? And then real quick, I'm not so sure who I cut off, but sorry. This company, it's like a hedge fund. That's a great example of, now that I can get in with them, show them, well, guess what? I'm working with ADR, and this is the type of agents ADR has across the country. And then I turn them on to Darren and do that intro like we just talked about. So it's a win-win for everybody.
And it's not hard, is it, huh, Jeff? I mean, at that point, it's especially when you're talking about the value add. These guys, these are all headaches. They're trying to get rid of these headaches. And this is a solution. What we do, not everybody does. And the fact that we do it this well is just a huge lift for all these people. So that's so you can feel very comfortable and confident when you get in those conversations that, hey, we have a solution for you. And just, again, turn us on to a phone call.
100%. And this company that I came across, they don't have a bunch of agents, right? They probably know some agents, right? Because they do loans, but they don't know any true REO agents. And if I could turn them on to ADR and all of the great agents across the country, I mean, that would be a win-win for not only me and ADR, but for all you that are ADR agents.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just so everybody knows, because not everybody on this call right now is on our morning huddles, but we do this every morning. Every morning, Jeff and Kelly host up morning huddle where we talk about these exact same issues. So don't be a stranger. Be part of our group, engage, and rising tide rises all ships. So that's what we want to continue to do. Well, I really appreciate Darren coming on. Our next, and we do this every month. We do this monthly. Our next meeting will be October 8th. And then it's usually the second Tuesday of the month, but with me being on vacation, we push it to the third. And then again, remember this Thursday, we have our ADR Mastermind. It's 1 hour. It's going to be, with Tanya Willis, who's our Director of Operations, and Darren and Barry. I'll be on the call. Lots of questions. Bring your questions. We definitely want to get all this hashed out, and then we'll bring everybody up to speed a little bit more about what we talked about regarding some of the additional trainings and mentoring that we're going to be doing. I have a call later today with a couple of agents about that, so we'll be pushing that out in the next few weeks as well. But I look forward to seeing everybody on tomorrow's huddle and then on Thursday's call.
Hang on one sec, real
Okay.
quick. The link, the Property Radar link, is a free trial for, I believe, 14 days. So just click on the link.
Seven.
7 days. Sorry, thank you, Kelly. 7-day free. But check it out, and if you subscribe to it, do yourself a favor, get the training.
5 days.
Oh, 5
Sorry.
days. Sorry.
5 days.
Okay,
Sorry.
5 days. So make sure you've got 5 days to check it out, right? Don't get it and then forget about it. But get the training, because I've been using Property Radar since it was Foreclosure Radar back in 2005. I've had it since then, and it's there's things that it does that I didn't even know about. I mean, it's amazing. It'll do all kinds of automations and cool stuff like Joe talked about, postcards, foreclosure postcards. I mean, it's awesome. So check it out.
Thanks for that, Jeff. I have to bounce. I have a 2 o'clock.
All right,
But
guys, I gotta jump on this
Bye.
call too.
you
Thanks,
guys have a
everybody.
good rest of the
Bye,
week,
everybody.
and we'll talk to you about it on Thursday.
See you later.
See you.
Thank